everyone, welcome to the Taste Like Somewhere podcast. This is your host, Christy. How are you doing today? I wanted to take a little moment before we get into this week's episode and just thank everyone who has come to the table so far and everyone who has been listening. This was a bit of a scary project to start. I don't really know how to host a podcast and how to edit, and there's a team of two of us pulling this off, and I just cannot thank you enough for the support and energy that you have thrown to this so far. That's the only reason to do it. If nobody's listening, it doesn't really matter. So thank you. I hope you subscribe. I hope you keep coming back. I think everything finds itself organically when the time is right, and I do believe that the Taste Like Summer podcast is starting to find itself a little bit. So that's pretty exciting. And again, we couldn't have done this without you. So on this week's podcast, it was a last minute schedule. I'm pretty excited about it. I've been trying to get him on for a couple of weeks now. Mr. John Yelinek from Ladder 4 Wine Bar in Detroit. For those of you who know me, I'm a little bit biased towards Ladder 4. James Kaderi, one of the owners, is one of my closest friends, and I feel very protective of Ladder for a few reasons. But the truth is that they have really brought their best foot forward pretty much from the moment they opened until now, and it just keeps getting better. First of all, I'm going to go out on a limb and say best wine list for sure in Michigan, and I will stand by that. James has been collecting wine and is passionate about it and has been dealing in the wine industry for years and years and years, and he's got incredible taste. He feels very much the same as I do about telling the stories behind the makers and the producers, and that is really what it's about, is the story behind everything. And you'll hear John talk a little bit about that today as well. But they have received some pretty strong accolades in the last couple of weeks, which has made it a little bit bonkers over there, and it's well-deserved. Resi has decided to do a North America top 50 restaurants, and which is interesting because they left Mexico out. But I guess there's a reason for it, and John and I talked a little bit about it, I think off camera. But they have also a Latin America version, so that's kind of why Mexico's not on there. But they were on the short list for 50 Top Best. They ended up winning the award of Resi One to Watch. They just went out for the big award ceremony in Vegas last week, or maybe a week and a half ago. So things have been a little bit wild for those guys over there. And John took time out of his incredibly busy schedule to sit down and talk to me on Tuesday. I guess today is Thursday, so only a couple of days ago. But by the time this comes out, it'll be probably over a week later. But anyway, I just, if you live locally, and if you don't, if you're just coming through Detroit, everybody's like, where should I eat? I'm telling you, it's always going to be the first thing out of my mouth. Go there for wine, go there for food. On Sundays, and I don't know how much longer, they have burger Sundays, and they do these amazing smash burgers. Get a bottle of champagne, get a burger, and live your best life. That's all I have. That's all I can suggest to you. I mean, Detroit's got a lot of cool shit going on right now, but Ladder is the tops in my book. So anyway, without further ado, this is my conversation with John. Well, cheers. John, thank you for joining me today on Taste Like Somewhere.
Of course.
For those of you who don't know the gentleman to my right, his name is John Yelinek, and he is the head chef and wine director here at Ladder 4, and recent recipient of some pretty big accolades.
Yeah, I just show up every day and tell everybody what to do.
That's not so bad, right? Well, thank you for taking the time to come today. I mean, the idea of this podcast basically is to just sit down and talk to people that I think are doing really creative, interesting things in this industry specifically and all around the world. So we've had chefs winemakers, somms, like it kind of runs the gamut. Farmers, maybe we'll have Charlotte on at some point.
Cool.
For those of you who don't know who I was speaking about just then, Charlotte is John's wife, who also runs the garden across the street here at Ladder. I'll take a few videos of it so we can throw it in
Cool.
to the video at some point. But yeah, so thank you. I know it's your day off, and I know you've been incredibly busy.
Yeah.
And for those of you who notices John's hat, yes, we have the same hat because it's the coolest hat on the planet Earth. So anyway, okay, what are we drinking before we get any further?
This is Tarlant. This is the Brut Zero Rosé. Non-dosage. And this is the 2018 base. So, I mean, to me, I consider this their flagship wine. They make a non-rosé version. I love the savoriness and the little bit of
the fruitiness that really
sort
comes
of
along with it.
just like a little bit more structured kind of palate to it, and the fruit on the nose is just nuts. Really great balance of just like bright and linear acid and kind of soft floral aromatics and that like savory long lees aged quality. So I like super savory rich champagne. I like leaner brighter champagne, but the balance together is my favorite. So
it's interesting. I just drank this bottle a couple, like when I was in New York, but I think it was a different vintage and it was like wildly more acidic. This is like really chill and soft and subtle.
Yeah, we have the 2011, the 2016, and the 2018 base right now in the rosé, and the 16 is maybe a little bit more full and savory and toasty. The 11 even more so. This has the most kind of pronounced acid, but I don't know, the hallmark sort of characteristic of this wine is that like sort of savory base note, that like shortbread kind of thing behind all that acid and behind all that fruit. So
it's the perfect champagne emergency champagne.
It's a great value. It's champagne, so it's not cheap, but it's sort of maybe that first tier up from the champagne we pour by the glass here every day, which is already great. So
I mean, that's the one thing about coming here, guys, and we'll get into Ladder here in a little bit, but you can't go wrong with any of the wines here. I mean, it's the best wine list in Michigan. And I will say it's
pretty nice.
Very out loud and very proud because I'm proud of you guys. So, okay, cool. Well, we are not necessarily here to talk about champagne. I want to talk about you because as I was driving here today, I mean, I have known you now for probably 3 or 4 years. Maybe-ish.
Yeah, probably. We're going on 4 years open coming up in February. So we're a few months out from that.
Yeah. So close to that. And I know where you came from right before here and some of your like more recent paths, but really what I want to know is, first of all, what got you into this industry? What, and kind of your trajectory from point A to like kind of present moment. And then I want to talk about the future a little bit. But so where does John come from?
I mean, I've lived in Michigan my whole life. I never really pursued cooking professionally until I was, I guess maybe 19 or 20. It wasn't something that I was like chasing after.
But still 19 is pretty young, man.
Yeah. I mean, I will say like a lot of my peers, a lot of people that I like really look up to and respect and like have learned a lot from over the years, are people who like started washing dishes at 13, 14, started cooking at
like they really
16,
got thrown
17,
into the industry
and we're like, I love this. I can't see myself doing anything else. And like, had a good like 5-year head start, which like 5 years isn't, the longer you do it, the smaller percentage of the total time that is, but still like I'm young. Like I've been doing this for, half the time of some of the people that I like, consider to be, peers or like respected, colleagues within the industry. Like, I still like see myself as very new to this, relatively speaking. And I mean, I'm always a student. I always like try to approach something assuming that I don't know enough about it, which
Actually,
is
I think
good.
that's just a good approach to life in general.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's how you keep learning and growing and changing and evolving.
So, exactly. So I mean, growing up, I played music, and I
didn't know that.
Yeah, so I was initially planning on going to school for music performance.
Like, what did you play?
A bunch of stuff. I played multiple saxophones and like wind instruments all the way through high school, guitar, piano. I messed with like orchestra stringed instruments for a hot sec. Just like self-taught really. And that was like what I wanted to do. Like playing music was like all I could see myself doing. It's all I did in any of my free time. For, probably a decade, from the time I was 7 or 8 until the time I graduated high school and beyond. And
was this a natural thing for you? Did you just like have a natural inclination to music?
Yeah, I mean, and I grew up like.
This explains a lot about you, actually.
Yeah, and I mean,
this is why these talks are important.
and I grew up like very immersed in like a lot of different music and artists that like my mom was into, and like my first like concert I ever went to go see like live was like a Robert Plant show at Pine Knob when I was in like 3rd grade, something like that.
And Robert Plant is a mind bender. I saw him only recently, like 3 years ago, and I cried my eyeballs out. I had no idea I was gonna have that reaction.
Yeah. So like that was just it. Like a lot of my mom's friends were in bands and would play shows like around Lansing, around Ann Arbor area, like whatever. And so, we'd go see, her friends who were in this like blues band that still performs in Lansing all over the place, like on a school night, crash at their house, like get up early in the morning, get dropped off at school. Like that was.
Are you from Lansing?
No.
Okay, but you would just go down and party it up with the jazz people.
Yeah.
I love it.
And it was cool. It was just like, that was like the world that I existed in. And, we like had next to no money, but like, that was really a cool experience. And I was like, all right, cool. Like I'm like hanging out with these like middle-aged dudes who are like blues musicians. Like that's sick.
Yeah. That's pretty
and so, in retrospect, I'm like, that's crazy, but cool.
Who's your favorite blues guy?
Oh God.
We're really going rogue now.
Yeah, that's I don't know. It depends on the era, but I mean, R.I.P. But like, I mean, B.B. King was like, he's the biggest, but also like, you don't get that sort of status as like an accident. Someone so influential and like, but like, the jazz guys, the like, 60s and 70s guys, like, it was just like, that was what we listened to constantly. That was like, just where that kind of like immersion in music came from for me. And once I realized what it costs to go to school for music performance, especially I was like, I'm gonna go to Berkeley, and like went through the whole application process and was like, cool, I'm gonna do this. And I was like, oh, like it's like doctor expensive.
Oh yeah.
And there's
especially at Berkeley School of Music.
And there's like, there's like no guarantee that I'm actually gonna like make any personal income after that. Okay.
I mean, being out there, there's like, I feel like more of a percentage of a guarantee on some level by going to that university specifically, but I get it. I mean, was just, it's a lot of debt, and
it's also just, it was incredibly scary, like for somebody who just like grew up like literally having like no money, like we would go camping on the weekends, we would go, crash with people, like the homies in Lansing, and like that was it. So I was just like, I can't even comprehend that amount of money, like having to pay back. And so I started to like second guess myself and was like, all right, well, I can keep playing music and like keep getting better at this thing that I love doing without necessarily going into that kind of debt. And so I decided, well, I'll like go for the more like technical side and like, okay, I'm going to go and like get an audio engineering degree. And that way I have something that I won't be able to get any other way that is more immediately useful to me and still keeps me in this area like adjacent to this thing that I like am here for to begin with.
Right.
And so I did that.
You actually went to school for that?
Yeah.
And I had honestly no idea.
Yeah. And so I was freelancing a ton. I was teaching music lessons. I was picking up like photo gigs because like that was just something I was interested in as well. And I was, part of the program was I had like video and photo and editing classes and things like that to fill other credits, even though video work was not the thing I was there for. It was cool.
And this was at Berkeley still?
No, God, no. I went to community college.
Oh, okay, I was like,
I could afford it.
Oh, jeez.
And so just to freelance and like pay my bills. And,
sure.
I did that for a couple of years, and it just got to the point where I was like getting close to finishing all my credits, and this is exhausting. Like it's like a full-time job just to find people who will give you money for those gigs.
For sure, yeah.
And I was like, well, shoot, like a couple of my friends were like cooking in just like whatever, local like bar and grill type restaurants. I grew up like with a lot of super solid home cooks. One of my uncles who I'm like pretty close with, like worked at a spot in like Dearborn when he was in college, and like just a lot of like good, pleasant family memories around food. And so it was just always this thing, like we would go over to his place around the holidays and he'd like set everybody up with like a station, like you're doing this part of the meal, you're doing this part of the meal. It was just like, so it was always this like fun thing that I had a lot of like nice memories associated with, rather than, oh, like this is a chore, like it's such a pain in the ass to like cut a bunch of vegetables to like cook a meal. Like, so I was like, well, like I know how to use a knife, I know like how to cook food, like I'll go and like pick up prep shifts and clock in, clock out, collect a paycheck every 2 weeks till I'm done with school, and that was that. And then I liked it. It was crazy.
What was your first restaurant gig?
First real restaurant was Aubrey's.
No way.
Yeah, swear to God. So like doing prep, making pizzas here and there, working on the line, and it was just crazy. It was like a pirate ship.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of like
in what way?
A lot of like funny, goofy characters, like like lifers, like line cook lifers. It was just it was a very foreign environment. Yeah. But it was cool. I was like, all right, this is like fun. Like how fast can I get at this thing? Like how good can I get at this thing? And I did that for a year and a half till I finished all my credits and all of that. And then once I was done with school, I was like, well, can either go and start like running sound on shows for like no money for a while and hope someone decides like I'm good enough at it that they can pay me, or I can go and like get a job in a more serious restaurant.
Is that how the industry works? You would have to do like pro bono gigs?
It's very much like,
That's insane.
Like a lot of restaurants used to be, or a lot of restaurants still are, depending on where you're located, of like, you're staging until they're willing to hire you.
Well, I always say that music and food, well, art and food in general, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
at least like the type of thing I was interested in doing, like running sound for shows. Like being a recording engineer, like in a studio is really cool too, but that's almost like one of those things that's like purely reputation, and I wouldn't have even known where to start, I don't think, and I didn't really pursue it seriously enough to get to that point.
Also, it's
but the part of that
so
world that I
radically.
was in was like, yeah, you go hang out and like offer to help them load in and set up sound, and maybe they'll let you, and like, or maybe they'll let you like help them tear down at the end of the night, and you meet people and you know.
Yeah, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah, and so from there I was like, well, I'm just gonna see about getting a job in a more serious restaurant, and I you know found out that Roast downtown was hiring, and I emailed, and they were like, yeah, come in for a stage on this day, and I did, and they hired me, and I was like, I was not expecting to get hired, but like, okay.
You were there for a long time too.
Yeah, I was there for 5 years. In total, I like left in the middle. But yeah, Roast was like my first serious job. And I mean, I like took it seriously. It was like a fun place to work. It was also like very foreign at the time. I was like, this is like great, cool, giant steam kettle where they're, you know, making veal stock over the course of 3 days, like stuff like that. But like those fundamentals that even at the time in like 2015, nobody really was doing that in Detroit. These like classical kind of old school things. You know, it was a little dated, you know, but like what isn't at that time? Like, I mean, the restaurant had been open almost 10 years.
I mean, its whole leg of time was less than 20, right?
Yeah, it was open 13 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It was a big hit, I think, when they closed.
Yeah.
But maybe it was time too. Who knows?
You know, it's a bummer. It didn't have to go the way it did. It definitely like, I would love to see a place like that come back.
Well, it was the first real big investment from a pretty well-known chef to come into Detroit, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it was like a joint venture between Michael Simon and the owners of the hotel, who like had a business and personal relationship going way back, and just like really nice people. Like the folks that owned it would be in a decent amount. Just like good people who were like invested in the people that were there making the place run, which was nice. Like you don't get that everywhere. And yeah, just it was a huge place. It was busy all the time in the hotel.
I bet. Yeah. I only went there once, but I was like,
yeah,
whoa.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it
was the place to be.
Everything. Up until the point I left, I mean, everything I learned about running a restaurant, running an operation, and how all these pieces fit together. Like I learned there, mostly passively, mostly just by like paying attention and clocking things.
Because by the end, you were like pretty high up in the chain.
Yeah, I mean, I was the second person in, you know, in command in the kitchen, and so my executive chef is now running Layla, but just like, yeah, great people and like demanding, like sometimes stressful environment, but like that's where I kind of like gained an appreciation and like that like love of the game of like, you know, this is gonna kick my ass today, or this week, or this month. Like this holiday season is gonna kick our ass, but we're gonna do the best job we can and be happy that people are leaving happy. And like that's what, if we're not here for that, then what are we here for? And so yeah, so I mean, I spent some time there, and it was,
you cut your teeth.
Yeah, it was
in a pretty
it was big. It was
established place.
Yeah, it was the first place that opened in the city that was, you know, in this sort of second wind that Detroit is having of doing things that old school way and doing that type of cooking.
And were you there till the end, or did you leave before it closed?
Nope. So I was there until the second shutdown. So everything,
Yeah.
the state mandated that everybody close for dine-in on March 16th, 2020. We closed, we came in, the people from Cleveland were there, and they said, hey, we're shutting down. Everybody here is to go home and apply for unemployment. It's like, damn, that's insane.
Yeah, you're like, okay. Ouch, I did not see it. Nobody saw it.
So we thought it was
going
to be like 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks. It was like 7 months. I reopened the place. There was one point like the freezer went down while it was closed, and the sort of like cryovac, like vac sealed some bags of some stuff we had in the freezer, Cambros of stock, like everything just blew up. Everything. It was the most disgusting thing in the world.
That's so rough.
But we reopened.
It's like one story of millions, I'm sure, all over the world
of
that happening.
Yep.
I mean,
but we reopened in maybe August. And then in November, the weather started to get cold. But big new wave of people being sick came. The state shut everything down again. And I had been talking with some folks.
Just hearing you talk about it's giving me tiny bits of PTSD.
Yeah. I had been talking with some folks who were opening this new spot downtown, this like a cocktail bar with a food program. And, I decided, all right, I think I'm going to go try, I'd already been thinking like, all right, man, I've been here for a while. I kind of want to like get out and like see something, do something different, run a different, be in a different kind of role, not different kind of role, but like different kind of atmosphere, different kind of service.
Well, you wanted to go front of the house at that point, right? No, not yet.
No, I never, that was never really like something I was like, I want to do this.
See, I always like was under the assumption that when you came here, you were like kind of burnt out and wanted to do stuff.
But it wasn't like I'm done cooking, I'm going to be front of house now. It was just like, I can't be in charge of running somebody else's operation for a little while. Mm-hmm. It was more that.
Okay.
And no, so I mean, I ended up joining the team and opening Shelby, which is downtown in like the financial district. Tiny place, like maybe 50 seats or something like that. But we opened that place at a time where there was a 25% capacity restriction in place. So it was something like 18 guests we were allowed to have in the building at one time, plus the staff. But it was refreshing in a way. Like we served like a prefix, like I think it was like a 5-course prefix or something like that. And it changed frequently, but it was the only way we could make it work.
Right.
Like it was the only way. Okay, cool. Everybody has their job. Everyone can come in to work and make money and go home. Like we either do this or it can't work.
Right.
And so we did that for a while, and then the capacity thing started to open up a little bit, and we started, filling the place up properly, still offering the prefix, and the prefix was just like pretty immensely popular. And
you were cooking at this point still.
Yeah.
Still
and
in the kitchen.
The kitchen at this place, kitchen is a vast overstatement. The kitchen is the size of like our host stand area right there.
Oh my God.
Where it was
it's like New York City.
Sandwich top cooler, a stand-up reach-in directly behind that station, a shelf with a half-sheet size convection oven, and a couple induction burners. That was it. And we were,
Incredible. Kicking out prefix menus.
Yes.
Yeah.
For like, up to 50 some people at a time.
Wow.
So yeah, after a while I hired Mike, who's our CDC here, who I also hired at Roast like shortly before everything closed. He's awesome. And he was there for a while after I left even. But yeah, I did that for about a year, and it was just so intense. It was like hot and fast, like burning at both ends. And it's like, this is crazy. Like
Plus times are also still really weird.
It was really precarious.
Physical harm
exactly. It was super precarious. Like once a week there'd be like a COVID scare, like someone on the staff, tests positive or, that type of thing. So around the time I was like, man, like I don't know if I can do this much longer. Like this format is just so exhausting without a full kitchen, without a, we're the bar is our prep kitchen until 4:30.
Yeah.
30 minutes before we open, like there's no space to do anything.
Right.
And so it was just that hot and fast kind of thing. And we did a ton of really, really incredible food, like really cool stuff that wouldn't have been possible in a larger format. But there's a cost to everything. And so.
And did you create the menu there?
Yeah. So the guy, Chef Matt, who like got me involved in the beginning, he was like a partner there or something. And he had like some framework, and he had some dishes and like a menu roughed in, and very shortly after we opened it, it was, there were a couple staples. He was like, I really like, I worked so hard on this. Like, I want to keep this on the menu. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, and then everything else, I just like was plug and chug.
Plug and chug.
Yeah. But we did a lot of really cool stuff there. And after around a year, I like got connected with James, and he was like, yeah, I'm opening this wine bar in the Firehouse on Vinewood. And I was like, no shit, that's you, huh? Because I live right up the street, and I'd seen the sort of work and a lot of the progress happening. I'm like,
the slow progress that it was.
Yeah, like in my head, I'm like, I wonder which VC group from New York is renovating the Firehouse. And I'm like, oh, it's James.
Yeah, not like, a VC group at all.
Yeah, oh, it's James. Cool. Yeah. No, so it's like, all right, great. And then I came up here one day just to check the space out, and like I remember the first time I walked in this door. These booths weren't in yet, or maybe they were just like
they were wrapped
template.
They were wrapped in. Oh yeah, there was a template down.
There's a template on the floor.
For a long time, they were just wrapped in cardboard because James
in
was
styrofoam.
Very paranoid about them.
Yeah. And that first day, I remember they were like putting a hole in the wall in the addition that's the kitchen now, and getting ready to hang the hood up. And he was like, "Yeah, listen, apparently the health department needs to." Give me a license or something. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. They do. And he was like, well, I'm not doing food or anything like that. I'm like,
that was when
still
he was
true.
Definitely
still
adamant
true.
About, I am not a restaurant.
Yeah, and everyone can have their own opinion and idea, but yeah, I was like, yeah, cool. Like, I'll help you with the health inspection and all of that. And so we did that. It was like near the end of 2021 that all happened. And then beginning of 2022
opened it
is when this
February,
place opened.
right?
And it was February. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, he asked me if I wanted to hang and pour wine a couple days a night behind the bar. And it was at this point that I was like, I was just helping out friends with restaurants and like filling in, like, I was like helping a ton at like Mink and Marrow, helping them do offsites.
I remember that, yeah.
There's just a lot of that. Like, everybody needed hands. It was a tough time for like labor, especially like independent restaurants, like needing a hand on this night or a hand with this event. So I was doing a lot of that. It was fun. It was just like, I'm happy to help my friends out. And that allowed me to just like, cool, I have Thursday, Friday, Saturday that I work behind the bar here. And
I remember the first time I met you and we were sitting down, like just having a chat about wine. And I was just like, who is this guy? I never meet a chef that's like this in tune with wine.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a very generalized statement. It's probably not true for the majority of the world. But it was very refreshing for me to watch you be so passionate and want to learn so much about wine. And at that point in time, I didn't know your food yet.
Yeah.
Because you were like all secretive about it.
Yeah, it just wasn't what I was here for. And
we were making guacamole in the back.
Yeah.
We were pouring the wine.
I was, it was that whole kind of thing. It was like, oh, cool, this guy, like, he's got a wine bar. He doesn't really care too much about doing food. And the wine thing, like, it's just one of those things. Like, I need to like expand my brain in the process of like doing something, or else I get bored with it. And it was like the thing that was the easiest for me to pick up. Because in retrospect, like opening a place like Shelby, like, oh, cool, like all these things about like how things need to operate and like the schedule that things need to happen on and like all this stuff. Like, that was stuff that I had absorbed sort of passively from being at Roast. coming here and like being immersed in like this insane inventory of like wine that James already had here when the place opened. I was like, this is crazy. Like, I know regions and grapes and, you never know all of them, but like, this is familiar. This is ringing bells. I know what I'm looking at. That also was like something I had some sort of bearing in already. And like, I remember like at roast, even like when Joseph was the GM and you guys know Joseph. I would sit down and taste. He'd be like getting ready to do an exam and like, yeah, pick a bottle off the list, like something under $200 and blind me on it. And like did that so many times that like
you just learn through osmosis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's the cool part about wine.
Yeah.
It's like if you're paying attention at all,
you're
inevitably going to learn.
Exactly. And so I kind of came in here and I'm like, oh, cool. Like I kind of have, like the palate is the easy part. Like I've been cooking for enough time, and the language to associate like what you're tasting with a language you can communicate to other people is like the harder part. And I already had enough of that it sort of made sense and it sort of clicked. And then the sort of missing third leg of the stool to like make the whole thing stand up in my brain was like a sort of mental Rolodex of producers. And the stuff we do here is different from sort of the background that I had already, in that, it's just all these small producers, these multi, second, third, fifth, eighth, 16th generation producers that, they're not brands, they're not companies, they're not like factories. Exactly. They're not factories pumping out, 500,000 cases of wine every year. They're people or families like farming their little piece of property and making
sometimes less than 1,000
1,000 cases or 1,000 bottles in some instances. And so that was just like very cool and a very like new but also familiar and comfortable idea to me. Well, like, of course, like I've been working in restaurants for long enough that like, yeah, that's how we're thinking about so much of the food we buy. I want to buy stuff that's not this commodity thing that's made by these people who give a shit about the land that they work and give a shit about whether 50 years from now someone will still be able to farm that land. Why wouldn't you want to apply? Why wouldn't you want to care about a thing like wine, which is so agricultural? Why wouldn't you want those same principles in that? And so it made a lot of sense. And, there's this like local aspect to food where like, we're in an area that there's a long enough growing season that we can rely on these small farms like in our immediate vicinity. That's obviously not the case so much with wine. Like we do work with some domestic producers, a Michigan producer, but it's so global. And so the way, at least for me, that I'm like, sure, there's like a lot of environmental tax of these things coming from so far away. But the way you reconcile that is like, okay, to what degree do I like trust these people that they're doing everything to the best of their ability to be contributing something positive in their part of the world, or doing their due diligence with, how they're shipping something. Or, I mean, even down to like this last like drop of Serbian wines we got from Oskar Maurer. He's using like these very, very lightweight, thin-walled glass bottles.
Oh, no.
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're
not breaking?
Structurally, they're fine. No, but it's insane how much lighter, like significantly lighter weight a case of this wine is.
Yeah.
Like,
that's good. They're paying a lot more attention, especially now with tariffs and everything. They kind of have to.
It's a really tough part of the world to get wine out of.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool to see, just like little things like that. Like like the fact that people are paying attention to those little details. I mean, those are the kind of details like I like to think that I'd be paying attention to. Yeah. And so like it's cool to see, and it's people who just care enough about what they're doing and how they're sharing it with the world that it's hard not to feel some type of way about it.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I mean, you know very much that I have a very strong, I have a lot of strong relationships with some of these producers in general, but I also just think it's if we want to have a future in the world, period, this is the kind of stuff we have to be paying attention to.
Yeah.
So my question is, I guess now, so you came here, you kind of got a pretty good education into the wine scene. You got to learn what you needed to learn, I guess, on some level. And at what point were you like, did you have like a conscious thought where you're like, this wine now deserves some food to go with it? Or was it just an organic? I mean, I feel like I watched it being organic, but I don't know if that's true.
So, I mean, we started to just do some like very, very minimal, like casual, snacky type stuff. And I'd
typical like, wine bar stuff.
Yeah. I'd put in an order here or there, or like, and it was just more of a, like, we should have this rather than like a program with any type of direction. I like was doing this pop-up at the time that was, that was pretty, was taking a lot of my time and in a good way. Cause I still like wanted that outlet. I just was like, I don't want to like run a thing for somebody. I was like, I'm going to do this for myself. And it didn't really, the goal wasn't even to make money. It was just like, I'm going to go crazy if I don't do this.
Like that's your medium.
Yeah.
It's
and
so, your medium.
Yeah. And
I feel like Park Ranger kind of also, sorry to interrupt I could tell you were reaching for a thought.
That's okay.
But I feel like that also helped you find your voice.
Yeah, it definitely like was the first thing that I did that was like my identity of food kind of. And it was like still a little bit like
your
campy. There was like a little bit of like a bit to the whole thing, but like in a fun way that like made me not have to take myself so seriously. And
thank God you get playful with food.
And so I was I had a dinner scheduled at Frame, and I had spent probably $2,000 of my own money, which I didn't have very much of, on this food and getting this menu prepped. And it was like a couple days before the dinner was supposed to happen that they reached out and they were like, hey, sorry, we got to cancel. Everybody here got COVID. And I'm like,
fucking COVID.
Cool.
Like, sweet. I remember. And then you did it here instead, right?
Yeah. So I asked James, I was like, hey, dude, can I come sell all the food that I have bought there over the weekend? And we did like 2 days, and it was crazy. And by this point, trying to think chronologically, I don't remember when this dinner was even supposed to happen.
I think it was summertime, I think. I don't know. In my brain, I could be making it up.
Yeah. By this point, Omi was like managing the bar, and we put this whole thing together, and it just like was massively popular. And it was really cool to see. Like, it was received really well. We like sold all the food, and
this had to have been late summer, early fall, right? Because
that sounds right. I think it was July maybe.
And then
it was July maybe, and so we were like, okay, cool. Well, let's do dinner. Let's do dinner. And so we had this like full dinner sort of menu, compact, maybe like 8-10 items, one person in the kitchen at a time, and it was just bar service, and it was cool. It was fun. It was very low key, and we did that for maybe like 6 months, 7 months. But like you could come in here and eat dinner and just order everything at the bar, and we'd bring it out. And that was it. That was the system. And in the sort of cooler months was when, Omi and I sat down and he was like, we need to flip these tables and we need to take reservations and we need to,
And you were like,
and I was like, damn, that's crazy. But I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And
he wasn't wrong, I think.
No, it was like that was the framework, and that was like what we ended up doing. And James and Patrick, I remember this conversation was like, yeah, like we have to pitch this to these guys. I was like, okay, and he laid it out, and they were like, okay, and I was like, damn,
What?
that was
that was not as hard as we thought.
I did not expect them to be like, okay.
That's the beautiful part about James. As far as adamant as he is and how visionary he is about wanting to stick to it, he also is pretty malleable.
Yeah, no, and it was great.
And
so
he
like
trusts you guys, so he knew.
Well, and at that point, it was just like, my big apprehension about it was that like I've been in a position enough times where I'm like, I'm in charge of this thing for somebody else, and like I'm 100% like accountable for the shortcomings or failures of it. And I was like, I don't want to be in that position. Like that's not a fun position to be in. I don't like want to do that for anybody but my own thing.
Sure.
And so that was really like where my stubbornness came from, and also like it's a ton of work. It's like it's so intense to kind of find yourself in that position, but like it not be your own thing. And the fact that these guys were like, cool, like do whatever, just like don't fuck it up. Like it's a lot of pressure, but it's also
but
like,
then in the end, they were like, it is your thing. Like take it, own it, love it,
right, like
create it.
like yeah, exactly. Like the trust there was like the thing that hadn't been 100% there in other things that I'd done, whether it's running this like sort of institution downtown. It's like, all right, cool. I'm like in charge of executing this thing that's like not my own.
You're right.
Or, I'm here to like keep this thing running and keep this thing going in a time that's kind of unprecedented. And this was like, yeah, like cook whatever you want as long as it's good and as long as it doesn't lose money.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
And so yeah, I mean.
And you got your first accolades like immediately almost.
It was shocking. Yeah.
Like almost within months.
It was insane. Like I remember when the like free press was like restaurant, like they do their countdown of like the best new restaurants, and then like number 1 came out, and it was Bar Pigalle, I think. And I was like, damn, that's really cool. Like, because we were like, I wonder if we'll be on there. And then number 1 came out, and we're like, oh, cool, like nice, like happy for everybody. And then they were like restaurant of the year, ladder 4, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. I remember all of us were just like, holy cow.
It was insane. It was shocking. It was so shocking, and
it's changed everything into a different gear so quickly for you guys.
It was hard to process too, because it was like, oh my God, like the pop-up that I was running at the time, they like was in that list too. And I was like, what? Like this has got to be a mistake. And then like 24 hours went by, and I was like, that's so crazy. And then like the gear, like my like brain like went into gear, and I was like, oh cool, like the hard part just started.
Yeah.
Because the thing about that, the thing I've noticed differently, that happens differently about local versus national and bigger recognition is, local press is great. But there's a lot of folks who are like, restaurant of the year, I'll be the judge of that.
Also just very Michigan.
You're like, why did the place that I love to go to every Friday not get restaurant of the year?
Yeah.
And
also you're serving a very...
Why did the Capitol Grill not get restaurant of the year? That's my favorite restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, that's fine. Like we're not for every single palate. We're not for every single personal
Well, you're
preference.
operating on a very sophisticated European style too. I know that you just said in your 50 best resi thing, you were just like, I call it, what did you call it, grandma?
It's grandma food.
Grandma food, but there was something else, like maybe just sophisticated grandma food.
Yeah, I don't know. It's grandma food.
But I don't think it's
that-
grandma food. I mean, I think
It
it's
is.
rooted in tradition,
Yeah.
as all good food should be.
There's
But-
enough touches that like make it something that's pretty and that's presentable and that feels right in this space. But at the end of the day, like we're not inventing any. We're not putting flavors together that nobody's put together before. We're not pioneering like cooking techniques. We're just like buying nice stuff and doing just enough stuff to it that it's like really great when it gets to you, hopefully. And
I mean, I've been saying since the beginning, I think that it's no longer you're not a hidden gem anymore.
Yeah.
You're basically, everybody
We're
knows.
we're out there.
And they should probably be coming here if they're not. And if they're not, then they're missing out. So whatever. But, as someone who's eaten all over the world, I really do think you deserve every accolade that you get. I mean,
Thank
you're
you.
an incredibly, this is not something that one necessarily learns. This is something that is rooted in you. It runs through your veins. You can tell the love and care, and I hate to use the word passion now. I'm like anti-passion for some reason. I don't know, like if maybe it's like screw the establishment kind of attitude that I have. I just think that you can't necessarily always make a living on passion. You have something more. There's curiosity, there's a drive to keep pushing forward, that's what sets you apart. Because you can just fall into the same thing and it would be no problem, and then it would just be like whatever. It'd be the easy way out.
yeah, I mean, I think like
But it's also so boring.
the thing that we do here every day is so it's rooted to an extent, and like this is literally like how I want like somebody that I'm inviting over for dinner to like feel. And the fact that like this is a whole place that can be an outlet for that and be something we can share that with on a slightly larger scale than the home dining room is really cool. And I think like everybody who's here, who makes this space what it is, every person on the crew kind of understands that to a level where it's like
It's bigger than you.
we can all be on the same page of like rather than doing this like whole performance. I mean, there's a performance element to it always when you're operating service in an environment like this, but rather than like this whole like stuffy, like chest puffed out kind of thing, it's like, it's genuinely just like a warm experience, and it's not something we're trying to flex on anybody with, and it's just the type of thing that all of us would like to go out and be able to experience. And without having to travel somewhere that's really hard to get.
It's very hard to get
around
in this
here.
town. Yeah,
And so
I would argue you're one of the only ones. I mean, we have some nice places, but you're doing
no,
it
it's
on
just
a level.
the actual style of service and the way it feels to be a guest here is something that I'm really, really happy with. And
What does John hope for the future? I know it's a big one.
Oh,
And
God.
let's not say like 5 years. Let's be like, okay, in the next year, what are some things that you can articulate and share without holding you accountable? So you guys, no holding this guy accountable. Like, this is just a random question.
Yeah.
But you must think about it on some level.
yeah, I mean, in this space, like we're going on 4 years open. By the time we've been open 5 years, I don't know. I'd like to maybe be like working towards, like a more focused a more focused space, a more focused program outside of here. This is just such a perfect atmosphere and so much physical space that programmed the right way, this is one of the few places that I can see like being a lot of things to a lot of different crowds. And, you know, dining in the dining room is a certain experience. We have so much outdoor space, so much upstairs space that we're like booking now for larger private events that, you know, it can be a lot of different things to a lot of different people and a lot of different groups. And that doesn't mean we like can say yes to every request. Like that's very firmly something we like have never been able to do or never felt like fit into the program here. Like, I mean, we don't do cocktails. We don't, there's a lot of things we don't do. And I think in the beginning it was tough to overcome this, you know, sort of local reputation we had as a place that had too many rules. Like you can't get a gin and tonic here. You actually can't get
no Negronis
this
for you.
thing. Yeah. And it's like, it's not because we like don't want you to have a good, it's just that
it's not what
there's
you do.
2 dozen other places you can get a great fucking Negroni or a perfect martini in this city. And in order to be really good at the wine thing, we have to focus on that
I
a lot
appreciate
more.
that sort of like drawing the line in the sand of like, no,
It's
you
a
gotta
little
stay like it's okay to stay in your lane and also be good to it's okay to be really good at what you do.
Yeah, it's a little more specialized, and you know, it's been a lot of work to sort of shape people's perception of that as a feature rather than a bug.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen all the time. There's plenty of times where, you know, somebody gets rubbed the wrong way by the fact that they can't get the espresso martini or the old fashioned.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I think that's a very American attitude.
Yeah, and you know, it's fine. Like people like what they like, and I'm not here to judge. And the best I can offer at a certain point is like, you know, I'm so sorry, I actually can't do that.
Try this beautiful champagne, man. It'll blow your mind. It'll change your life.
And so that was just a tough hill to climb, a tough one to overcome, and to come to terms with like, you know, this is a hill that it's a hill that we're gonna have to climb over or die on.
Yeah.
And you know, that's been interesting to see, but
I think people
the focus,
come around.
all this to say, yeah, the focus we have here in the dining room and the things we can focus on in other spaces within the building is very broad. And the sort of like expanding the team to an extent where we can service different areas differently, and you can kind of have a different experience if you want to just hang upstairs outside, or if you want to like, you know, celebrate a big milestone in the dining room. Like it can be all those things, and a space this big needs to be able to be all those things, and we're headed in that direction. And all that's to say, like by that sort of 5-year mark, you know, I'll have the itch to kind of focus on something a little more specialized in a space, you know, of you know, maybe my own, maybe with someone else, with these guys, who knows? It's like, it's one of those things where, you know, that point where I'm imagining this place being sort of 5 years in is like something that I want to see come to be a reality first. And that's like, you know, holding myself and holding this place to that goal is
that's fun
big.
to hear. That's fun to hear. Okay, well, I want to respect your time. So I always end with rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So you don't think too hard. They're kind of fun. They're meant to be, you know, excited. Like they're just silly. I wrote them this morning.
Cool.
Okay. Since we did just schedule this yesterday. All right. What's one thing in your fridge that you would be most embarrassed to let people know is in there?
Oh God. Probably a tie between like some really, really old like pickled jalapenos that I made years ago in a mason jar.
Are they getting funky?
They're great. They're like pickled with like Old Forester. They're awesome with barbecue.
Why would you be embarrassed about that?
It's just old. Like there's a piece of tape on them, and it's like the average person sees that and they're like,
gross.
"What the fuck?" But it's pickled in alcohol and vinegar. Like it's fine.
Yeah, dude. I bet I would love to try those.
Yeah. Probably that and like a bottle of A1 steak sauce.
What do you use?
A1's good. It's underrated. Like I always take it camping because we'll get a steak.
Oh yeah, man.
And like, I don't know, there's just something like super, super nostalgic for me about like McCormick Montreal steak seasoning and A1 with a steak. And and that's the thing, like people are like, oh, it's like what it's
whatever.
It's destroying the flavor. Like, no, I'm telling you, like dry aged
it's all umami.
dry aged beef with like seasoning from the store and steak sauce on it is fucking good. Like it's got the right amount of acid. It's like savory. It's just good. Like
I really want you to put that on the menu.
I'm not gonna serve it here, and I'm not gonna keep it around here. But like, I don't know. Like cook a steak over a campfire with some A1 is like really good. Eating it in the dark with the lantern, like
and like
with your
fingers.
hands. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big fan of eating with your fingers in general.
So like I justify it with the context, but like if I'm opening my fridge, like people are over, I'm like gonna tuck it behind something because I don't want to have to explain that whole thing.
Someone came to my house recently, Chef Kieran from Corman Farms, and he was just like, Christy, your refrigerator's insane. And I was like, stop judging. First of all, why are you in my refrigerator? I know you're a chef, but he was like, we should do a cooking show of like, what, because I've got weird shit in there, like things from all over the world that I probably shouldn't have in there that, I don't know. I've got kimchi like a couple years old that I brought home from Korea.
That's perfect for the jjigae.
Yeah. All right. If you could eat any sandwich right now, what would it be? I mean, sandwiches are so fucking awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if it counts, but the like traditional pork gyro from Mitzo's in Eastern Market.
Why wouldn't it
with
count?
hot peppers? I don't know. Some people have differing
like
views
what's the definition
on, like,
of a sandwich?
Yeah, and if that doesn't count, then
it counts.
it's the torta ahogada from La Palapa on Lawndale Street. Just like bathed in this super spicy sauce. It's just awesome.
That's fun. Okay, what's the one bottle of wine that changed your life?
Domaine Lapierre.
I almost would have bet money on that.
I had had it before I ever was introduced to like the types of producers we work with here, but there's something about like hearing the history and the like cultural significance and the sort of story and where the family is at now, that puts a lot of things into context. And even though like, man, this is like perfect, like delicious wine, the first time I'd ever had that bottle, hearing that context like helps you to understand it a little bit better. And so yeah, I mean,
it's like, okay, I'm all in.
Yeah, we opened like a 3 liter of the 2017 at like my tiny up north wedding we had almost 3 years ago now, and drank this 3 liter over the course of a couple days, like 10 people. And I remember like my father-in-law, who like was getting into like some like more serious wine at the time, like had just abandoned the Wall Street Journal wine club, tasted it on the second day, and he goes, "This is the best wine I've ever had." That's
God,
it.
that feels
This is
good.
the best wine I've ever had.
Because you know it was super genuine.
Yeah, no, seriously, like
so cool.
Yeah. So
to be able to witness that happen to someone is one of the greatest gifts.
yeah, and so it was just perfect. It was like a, you know,
that's the power
5-year-old 3 liter of Lapierre Morgon. I still have the bottle. Like I'll never.
That's so
it was just really cool to experience it in that way too, and share it with friends and share it with. Yeah.
Pretty fun. Okay, who in the industry is inspiring you the most right now?
Oh God. In the entire industry, I'm I mean, it's like super fresh in the mind. But like one of probably the best meal I've ever had in my life at any restaurant was at Beba in Montreal. And I met those guys this past week in Las Vegas, and it was just like, wow, cool. Like there's another place out there that's just like shamelessly like we're doing old school classic things with ingredients and with a sort of like playfulness. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm not crazy for like wanting to do this. And in that sense, like those guys, they're fresh in the mind. We ended up like getting Korean barbecue with them.
Oh, fun.
And like, just like seriously, like my favorite restaurant in the world right now. And they have been since like the meal we had there about a year and a half ago. And so those guys just like are an awesome reference point, I think, for anybody that wants to do something nice that's simple and that's like just genuinely.
Wait, and you hadn't met them before you went to Vegas?
Not in person.
Oh,
like I
that's
chatted with
even
them a couple
cooler,
times.
man.
Just like the internet's a crazy thing.
Yeah, the internet.
But
is crazy.
when I saw them there, like I knew who they were. I recognized them. I walked up to them at the event the first night, and it's like, oh my God, I'm so glad you guys are here. I was gonna be so pissed if you weren't here. And
They ended up getting a position, right?
yeah. And yeah, Montreal like cleaned up, which was really cool to see. I mean,
should. It's one of the greatest cities in North America for sure.
Every single place that got on there in Montreal is so deserving of it. And I mean, there's dozens of other restaurants across the country across Canada, across the U.S., across the Caribbean, I'm sure that like equally deserve a place on the list, but it's not a forever thing. It will change every year, and you know, it's not an exhaustive list.
This was the first year they did it, right?
This is the first North America list. They've been doing regional lists like Asia, Latin America. The fact that they have a Latin America list is why Mexico wasn't included.
I was just going to ask that. It's almost like you read my mind. I was like, wait, I didn't see anything from Mexico. Which is weird.
The whole thing was like catching a lot of flack from people about like, oh, cool, like
Mexico's
is
not. They're like, great,
how
leaving us out again.
Racist or whatever. And it's like, if you're walking in cold, I can see that. But they also like explain pretty well, like we do a Latin America list, which is why
Mexico wasn't.
The Caribbean.
Maybe they'll rethink.
Also, it's like, I think culturally, the sort of restaurant experiences that exist within the Caribbean, North America, and Canada are a lot closer to one another than once you get into Mexico. I mean,
I don't know if I agree with that, but I'm not like fully saying I don't agree, but I do think like Mexico City is one of the greatest food cities in the world.
No, of course.
The dining experience can go from you might die on the street to the most elevated experiences you could possibly get.
Well, that's what I mean. Like that range though, like there's realistically not a ton of places between, what this list considers their North America that are all that similar to that type of range, or that are,
Did Vancouver get anything?
Yeah.
No, Western Canada?
Yeah, there was Western Canada.
Okay.
I can't remember. Oh, God.
That's okay. I can go back and look at it. And I can also post it on here for folks who are interested in that, or you can look it up. Resi's 50 best or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the fact that, running into those guys was great. And like, aside from that, just the fact that their restaurant exists and is doing its thing and is, received the way it's just like it's a weird and cool, like, I guess like sort of validation that like, oh man, the thing that I like, I'm trying to do, and that like the thing that I'm like coming to value a lot, like in this world is, there is a place for it. And I'm like not the only one that like,
It's really freaking awesome. Okay, 2 more. Where do you hope to travel to next? We can't say the north. I mean, you can, but I know you go up there all the time.
Really want to visit south of France soon. Really want to visit the Pacific Northwest soon. And really need to get to Mexico City soon.
Oh God, yeah. I'm a big fan of all the things you just said. Okay, and last but not least, if you were a taste, how would you describe yourself?
Wait, sorry.
If you were a taste, how would you describe yourself?
I'm a Gemini. So probably like that like tangy sweet, but also very salty contrast that's in a lot of cuisines. It's like both things, and like it rides that line.
You're like, am I like puckering, or am I like
Exactly.
need some water?
Yeah.
I love it.
Either way, it's a contrasting, like bitter and also sweet, or savory and like, yeah, whatever contrast you want to pick. Hot and cold.
Hot and cold.
I love.
You think you run hot and cold?
Yeah. I love a hot and cold temperature contrast in a bite, though.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, me too. Yeah, me too.
It's temperature contrast is underutilized, I think.
Yeah, I think you can go a long way with it. That's like a shocking experience.
Yeah. When it hits, it hits.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I will not waste any more of your time.
All good.
Congratulations again. I'm just couldn't be more proud of you and this place and watching you grow and change and evolve. And I cannot wait to see where you go.
Yeah, we figure it out a little bit more every day.
Yep. All right. Well, rock and roll, man. Thank you.